want to shorten it out to the cult of healing, because a lot of people will use trauma as their identity.
The brain doesn't care about your happiness. It doesn't care about your success. All it cares about is being comfortable. My dad was a hustler. He was a pimp, like he ran it. Sleeping in boiler rooms, turning on the car in the middle of the night to keep some of the heat going. I'm just cut differently.
There's this push for men to be stoic and strong and quiet. And then there's this other push for men to be vulnerable and open up and be soft and be empathetic. How would you tell somebody that's kind of caught in the middle? Is like, I don't want to be that, I don't want to be this, I just want kind of have like a middle ground of both.
Be what the situation requires. What I no longer believe is the way God was introduced to me. I do not believe what was introduced to me.
Welcome back to The It Show. Today I'm super excited because we have an incredible guest. But before we get into that, I want to introduce, as always, my co-host, Edelio Sanchez.
What's up, baby? Good to see you. Good to be here with you. Have you been good with this cold?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I threw this on today. I almost threw on a sweater.
Yeah.
But yesterday I was rocking a blazer and it got pretty hot. So I decided to switch it up like towards the afternoon.
The cold
and then it got
betrayed
pretty
us
cold
towards the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. I'm actually kind of glad that we experienced that, and people that may not have been privy to lower 30s degrees. Now they're dealing with burst pipes. So,
well, not even lower 30s. It was like 27 degrees. Mm-hmm. And I was telling my family, I called them all, and I'm like, hey, make sure you're running the water. Make sure you wrap your pipes on the exterior just in case, you never know.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot of people whose pipes burst. Yeah, gotta be careful. And we actually got our guest today, who you'll introduce here in just a second, comes from up north. Mm-hmm. And I guess they have a process up there where they build it a little differently, so they don't need to worry about any of that.
Yeah, so it's built into the setting. Today, like you said, I'm so excited. We always say that, but I'm going to say it once again. Today I'm excited because we have a very esteemed guest. I've been wanting to have him on the podcast for a minute. He's a speaker. He's a counselor. He's a thought leader. We have Dr. Elijah Frazier with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate being here. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. We do handle the code a little bit different. Like it is built different, and maybe that's why some of us are built different. But they were talking about the stuff that was coming down, pish posh. Like, well, you should do this and you should do that. I know. We got it, and we weathered it well. Got through it. No burst pipes, no nothing. Mm-hmm. They were like, drip the pipes and do all this, and I was like, one step ahead of you. So it was good. We dressed in like, are you from up north? I am. This is not cold, trust me. So, but yeah, it's been good. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, we're excited to have you, man. I want to dive straight in. I have a question that I've been wanting to ask you, because we've had some interactions, and I understand that you have a very specific set of skills and a very specific perspective based on what you've been doing for the past decades. Right now, one of the things that I see all the time, and we were talking about it a little bit before we started, is this culture of healing.
Yeah.
There's like I almost don't even want to call it a culture. I want to shorten it out to the cult of healing, because a lot of people will use trauma as their identity.
Yeah.
And they'll just let this trauma just carry them through without actually doing the work. So what I want to ask you is, when should somebody realize that they have let this trauma become something that they identify with, instead of actually doing the work to build a life that they actually want?
I really like that question. A few different angles come to mind, but the foundation that I like to start from for anybody is the relationships that we have, right? We will sometimes have relationships with a title of a person than who this person actually is. And what we have to understand is that just because the mind belongs to us doesn't mean that it cares about us. The mind has two goals, and it's comfort and self-preservation. But the only way that it can get comfort and preserve itself in whatever it is it knows is in what it knows best. And that's where it finds comfort. The brain doesn't care about your happiness. It doesn't care about your success. All it cares about is being comfortable. So if you have trained your mind not to set healthy boundaries or speak up for yourself or hold your tongue when you need to hold it, it starts to hardwire itself and says, okay, this is my place of comfort. This is where I want to be. Take a bad relationship, for example. A lot of people are not in bad relationships because they desire to be or they want to be. They're in bad relationships because it's what they know best. And anything outside of that is what really scares me. I would rather navigate a trauma that I know than operate in a success that I don't know. That's the boogeyman. That's afraid. And it's like, whoa. So when do you know? The foundation is health first. Not a race, not a religion, not a politic. The first question is it healthy? And if you can't answer yes to that, we can't entertain anything after that. So when do I know? The very second it's not healthy. I don't care if you perform well in it. Well, I can walk through my house when it's completely dark because I know my home. But is it safe for me to walk in the dark? Should I be walking in the dark? No, because anything could change. I could step on a toy, I could kick the dog, I might bump something, cut myself, or anything. So just because I know how to walk through my darkness doesn't mean that I should walk through my darkness. Is it healthy? And if I can't say yes to that, then I can't continue forward.
I love that answer. That's pretty plain and simple.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I like it.
So I want to dive into this because when people talk about traumas, like there's a few very specific people. I'm not going to say their name here.
Don't
but
do it.
I'm sure we all have somebody who we think of, and they always use some type of past trauma as an excuse for why they do the things that they do. And it kind of goes back to the story about the two brothers raised by an abusive alcoholic father. Right. And then one becomes an abusive alcoholic father. And he says, well, of course I am. Look at my father.
Yeah.
And the other one becomes a loving, non-alcoholic and non-abusive father. And he's like, well, how did you become like that? So of course, this is how I am. Look at my father.
Yeah.
Same situation, different point of view, different perspective, and the way that they reframed the situation dictated how they operated. So my question for you is, if I have a certain level of trauma and I already know that it is unhealthy, typically you'll know it's unhealthy if you see the same patterns repeat over and over and over. What are some tactical paths, I guess, I could take to stop looking at it from that perspective and stop being a victim, so I can then recreate myself to become a victor and look at this from a frame of, hey, this empowers me because of, as opposed to disempowers me because of?
Yeah. Number one of my biggest go-tos, one of my quickest go-tos is separating the facts from the feelings. Separating the facts from the feelings. There's a way that we feel, but then there are still facts. Are the ways that I'm feeling, are these factual based feelings, or are these just feelings? And here's the tell. Here's where a lot of people tell on themselves. If you can articulate a problem, you can solve a problem. A problem with a solution is a choice. And many of us do not have the problems that we say we have. The problems that we actually have is we're not making decisions we have the ability to make. Well, of course I am. Look at my father. Wait a minute, you know? You know where the problem comes from? You know it? Oh, so we don't have the problem that we say we have. We're making a decision. If you get out there and you behave a certain type of way, you have patterns and behaviors and things of that nature, and people are like, well, I don't know. I don't know why I'm addicted to drugs. I don't know why I struggle with pornography. I don't know why I cheat on I don't know any of these things. Well, what about you? I don't know anything about my dad. Oh, you really might not know. But if one person can say, well, of course I am. Look at my dad. Well, of course I'm not. Look at my dad. If you have the ability to articulate the conception or the inception of a thing, then you have the ability to take action and do something about it. So step number one, separate the facts from the feelings. This situation came with feelings, but it also came with facts. And if you ride on just the feelings forever and the facts are null and void to you, or they don't matter to you, you don't have a problem. You're making a decision. And that's where we would start.
I like that. Yeah. Now, what would be like end game for somebody that starts there? What does that look like?
It's not a one size fits all.
Okay.
End game for somebody, anytime I'm working with a client, I tell them no matter what their goal is, my goal is not your goal. My goal is not to get you to where you want to be. And my goal is not to keep you away from where you don't want to be. My goal is to get you to the healthiest place for you. So the end goal, again, you're going to hear me say that word, and it's like, well, you keep repeating that. Is that kind of your way out? No, facts just don't change. The truth is always the truth, and is always going to be the truth. It's going to be the truth on Monday. It's going to be the truth on Wednesday. It's going to be the truth in 2026. It's going to be the truth in 2056. So when I keep coming back to these foundational pillars of health, what is the end game for someone like that? The end game is the healthiest place for you. Well, I've always wanted to be married and have a healthy family and do the... If that's the healthiest place for you, I want that for you too. But what if we come to a very sobering truth? That you shouldn't be in a relationship. It is redefining what it is the dominant neural pathways that your mind has created. Our actions, our behaviors, our responses, why we do what we do, how we do it, when we do it. So our experiences will put us in a position to where we create these frameworks and these modalities and applications. Well, Edelio, he treated me mean, so I know John Doe is going to treat me mean as well. It's like, well, no, those are facts and feelings again. Hold on. No, well, I got my heart broken in one relationship, so all relationship would be like that. Well, I failed here, so maybe I'm not supposed to be a winner. Stop. Facts versus feelings. The end goal is what is healthiest for you and why. Just because everybody else did it in your family doesn't mean you should, or just because nobody has done it in your family doesn't mean that you shouldn't. So it is a case-by-case basis. It is not a one-size-fits-all. What is the end goal? What is the end game for someone like that? Let's discover who you are, who you really are, who you honestly are, why you're that person, and if the goals that you set for yourself are not the best goals, not the most challenging goals, but the healthiest goals for you. Are you aiming for something that you really should be aiming for? To the best of my knowledge, mankind, we're the only one that kind of have that I'm going to show you streak, that little jealousy, that little envy. And can dogs get jealous over toys and animals? Territorial, that's territorial.
Yeah.
But let the right person in the right vein tell us we can't do something, or we're not going to do something,
Or you're Michael Jackson.
And now all of a sudden, you're going to show them, and you develop the skill, and you show them. But it was never meant for you, and you were never supposed to do that. I was having a discussion earlier, and it was, imagine becoming stronger than you ever were meant to be, than you ever were intended to be. And we'll pat ourselves on the back for how well we handle problems. But what if you were never supposed to handle those problems in the first place? So now you're like, look at how big and strong I am and all the things that I've accomplished and all the things that I've conquered. But what if you just won a race that you were never called to run? And this isn't for you. Doesn't have your name on it, your identity. And sometimes we can perfect these certain type of thing. One of my favorite things, I don't know if you guys do, James Blunt. And one of the lyrics are, finding comfort in pain. You begin to know a negative thing. You begin to know an unhealthy thing so well that it becomes comfortable to you. So it is making sure that whatever your aspirations are, not that people will praise you for them, not that people will demonize you for them, but at the end of the day, can you be well within yourself? Can you be happy within yourself? And did you really arrive to a place that wasn't something you could do, but something that was healthiest for you?
So who dictates what's healthy?
In what regard? In what way? In what way?
Let's say I'm being called into a race that I suppose wasn't meant for me. But I believe it was meant for me because I feel a gravitational pull to it because it's just something that speaks to me. But it's an unhealthy path. I guess it depends on how you define unhealthy. How would you define unhealthy?
I don't want to run away from this, and I don't want to escape it by saying, case by case, how would you define it? At the beginning, middle, and end of it all, there are the ebbs and flows of sometimes you just got to learn how you learn. Like sometimes you may think you got it right, and it was a thing, and everything lined up. But what we may think is our end all be all, how they say you can't see the forest for the trees. What we may think is our end all be all, the healthy thing, the thing I feel called to, may just be a part of the step in the process to say you went all in as if this was the end all be all, And did you get let down? Did you get disappointed because it didn't happen or go the way you wanted it to happen? And then you discover, oh, that was actually step 4 of 10. And when you thought it was step 10. So how do you define what is healthy and what's not? There are the things we know, the educated guesses, taking all the information that you have and making the best decision that you can make, or just knowing everything about it. There's still that life factor. There's still that God factor. There's still that thing that you didn't see over there. There's still that thing that you didn't consider, couldn't consider, wasn't time to consider. And you're like, oh, but if I didn't go all the way in, like I thought this was it, I would have never discovered this. There are going to be some things that we don't know and we don't control. Modern medicine, technology, man, can you believe we used to travel like that? Can you believe we used to do dental procedures like that? Well, we were just operating. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Crazy. You know, Sigmund Freud. Anyway, and then we get this thing called more knowledge, more information, more exposure, more access. And had we never made that mistake on what we thought was the real thing, we would have never discovered the actual thing. So how do you tell and how do you discover what's healthy? Well, come from a healthy foundation, taking all the information that you can and making the best decision with that. And if it's supposed to land that way, it will. And if it doesn't land that way, you can bet your bottom dollar there's going to be something healthy for you to discover for the next steps.
So there's always a lesson.
Always a lesson. And what would they say? You either win or you learn. It's kind of that, just to kind of add to that, in any type of application or modality, my goal is to stay away from motivation and inspiration. Ooh, that sound good. That felt really good when you said that. Yeah, but can you actually apply it to your life and see tangible, measurable change? So when it comes to that, I like to put that disclaimer around it because, you know, feelings, they can, you got to have energy, you got to have pride. But I try to stay away from the motivation and inspiration. What I say may sound motivating and inspiring, but people are living real lives out here.
Right.
Like things are really going on in here. Things are really going on in here. When the lights are off and when the cameras are off, you don't want to give them inspiration. You don't want to give them motivation. You want to give them something they can apply to their life and see tangible, measurable change. So when it comes to that, how do I, you know, what if I thought it was a healthy decision? There was something in the equation that we couldn't see, but now we go to the point of discovery and say, what did I miss? What did I learn from this? Man, I did make the wrong turn. But if I never made the wrong turn, I would have never discovered that restaurant or this new way or this place that I've always needed from chapter 4. And I thought I would never find it. And here I am, all because I took a wrong turn because I was actually trying. So kind of those little magic moments, I would say.
I appreciate that. Yep. I knew you mentioned Freud. I'm more of a Carl Jung guy myself.
Okay.
But I have a question too, has to do with like shit that's going on that I see constantly online. I also feel like there's this, well, I don't feel it, I see it. There's this push for men to be stoic and strong and quiet. And then there's this other push for men to be vulnerable and open up and be soft and be empathetic. How would you tell somebody that's kind of caught in the middle? Is like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be this. I just want to kind of have like a middle ground of both because they both are attractive to me. Like, what do you say to somebody that is in that place?
What I say to someone like that is, if you are a human, you should always have the autonomy to be that. And again, going back to having relationships with people instead of titles. Well, you're a man, don't cry. You're a man, you shouldn't hurt. You're a man, you don't have feelings. Wait, but I'm a human. And I do. That was the way I was created. Well, you got social status, propaganda, and things like that. Kind of goes back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago. Don't try to be stoic. Don't try to be soft or gentle or have feelings. Be necessary. Be healthy. And it is making sure that you are what the current situation requires. What do I say to someone like that? Don't try to live up to anyone else's standards. because more than half of these people are performing themselves, and they don't have it all together and figured out behind closed doors when the cameras are off. But it is to always be necessary in the moment. I'm a dad, I'm a father, I'm a friend, I'm a cousin. And when it's time for me to be a dad, I'm a dad. When it's time for me to be a husband, I'm a husband. When it's time for me to be a gentleman, I'm a gentleman. When it's time for me to be a man, I'm a man. And it is being necessary for each situation, not to have to pick an identity and stamp it in the ground and this is who I am. Well, what if your baby girl runs up to you and needs a hug from daddy, though? She doesn't need you to be stoic. She needs you to be intentional.
Right.
So it is having that relationships, or, what if I'm being polite and, general public and somebody's kind of pushing those boundaries? Well, I'm gonna have to go ahead and put that gentle card in my back pocket and let the man approach. Hey, is everything okay? We want no problem. And so what do I say to that person in the world and society, whether it's social status or propaganda, for men to, finally tap into your feelings and do things like that, or never tap into your feelings and always be stoic and always be strong? Be what the situation requires. Be what the situation requires, and in every situation, always pick the healthiest option. Man, I could really be a man in this situation right now. Is it healthy for you to be a man right now? Or do your feelings tell you should be a man right now because you're reacting? Is there a trauma? Is there a trigger? No. Sometimes the best thing to do is to take that back seat. Be humble. Drake. He said a wise man once said nothing at all. I don't know if he wrote it. I don't know if somebody wrote it for him, but I'm like, yeah, I like that. That's good. There's a time and a place for everything. And whatever your decision is, no matter how you feel, make sure the decision that you make is factual and it's the healthiest decision that you can make.
So I can tell that, I see the cross on your chest. You're a man of God.
We're figuring that out.
Figuring that out? Okay,
Yeah.
I can appreciate that. Have you read The Alter Ego Effect?
I have not.
Okay. Brilliant book.
Okay.
Brilliant book. Because there was always for example, I do some speaking myself. And whenever I show up and I speak to a room, I show up with a different kind of energy. Because in my mind, that's what it requires. And I think everybody to some degree understands that. The problem is, let's say if I'm a little bit timid, it feels fake kind of forcing an identity on myself, because if I'm getting advice, hey, be who you are, be vulnerable, just be who you are. But who you currently are isn't fit for the task to deliver what you're looking to deliver. And what the alter ego effect does so well, it talks about the moment of impact.
Okay.
And being able to channel in an instant the alter ego required
being necessary
to make the impact.
Yeah.
And so some of the examples that he talks about in the book is Beyonce. Beyonce grew up in churches, she sang gospel, and then when she started, growing to fame, it required her start shaking her ass, doing all the other things. And she's like, well, that's not who I am. I don't want to do that. So she created in her mind an alter ego, which was Sasha Fierce.
Yeah.
And Sasha Fierce, she's not doing it. So I could sleep like a baby at night. I'm not doing it. That's Sasha, right? But she used that, and it kind of catapulted her career. And then you have so many different examples of that, like the Black Mamba. And different kind of alter egos. And then it also begs the question when you look at Superman, right? His alter ego, in the book, they talk about the totem. Like, you wear glasses, I wear glasses. When he puts the glasses on, who is he?
Clark Kent.
When he takes them off, who is he?
Superman.
But who's the alter ego?
Which one is the real you? Yeah.
So for him, it's reversed. Usually, your alter ego is, now I'm Superman, right? Clark Kent was, what's required? I need to be human, so I got to put the glasses on and I got to fit in. And what I find so interesting is, with the idea of the alter egos and with the idea of faith, I just saw the other day, I think it was Bruce Almighty or one of those movies.
Classic.
Yeah.
Bruce Almighty. I think it was Bruce Almighty. Not. I don't think it was the Jim Carrey. It was the one where I think they build an ark. Noah's Ark.
Oh yeah. Evan Almighty.
Evan Almighty.
Yeah. What was his name?
Was it Steve Carell?
Steve Carell. Yeah.
So in Evan Almighty, there's a scene that it just spoke to me. I haven't seen it in such a long time, but I was like, this is so powerful.
Yeah.
There's a scene where his wife is sitting like at a restaurant and she's like, can I have some more food, please? And then the bartender looks over, he's like, are you okay? She's like, no, I'm not okay. My husband's building an ark. He said God told him to do it.
Yeah.
And she's like frustrated by it. And he says, well, that sounds to me like an opportunity. She's like, what are you even talking about? I said, well, when you pray to God that he gives you patience, does he give you patience? Or does he give you an opportunity to be patient? When you pray for courage, does he just give you courage? Or does he give you an opportunity to be courageous?
Yeah.
When you pray that your family is closer, does he give you does he give you warm and fuzzy feelings? Or does he give you an opportunity to be close?
Yeah.
And you talk about what is required here and the alter egos, then you start building in faith from that perspective. And it's like, I think we all have the dynamism, is that a word? We all have the dynamic capability of flip-flopping what's required.
Yeah.
The problem is, I'll give you a perfect example. My problem is my wife says, well, you're a robot.
Okay.
And everybody outside of my wife, which is really bizarre to me because I had a friend reach out to me and my wife was sitting next to me and she heard the conversation that was happening. It's like, I'm surprised people come to you and talk to you about these things because you're like kind of like a robot. I'm like, I don't think I'm a robot. I think that I'm fairly empathetic and I can understand your situation, try to empathize with the situation. In my household though, more often than not, it requires a masculine energy. Because if we talk about traumas, there was traumas in our relationship where I allowed certain language to be okay. And for me, in my life, I don't think I've ever spoke about this on the podcast. In my life, it was the conversations my wife had with me that I worked too much. And because I worked too much, and I always said my family is the most important thing, my actions were out of alignment with what I was saying every day. And she started making me question whether or not I was actually a good father.
Oh, wow.
Whether or not I was actually a good husband.
Wow. Yeah.
Even though I felt I was doing everything I was supposed to do. And she wasn't doing it out of malice. She was doing it based on what she was seeing. And from her view of the world, this is what she was communicating to me. And because I was like kind of blowing it off, it started making me second guess, wait a second. But what ended up happening was I allowed that to build and I allowed the language to continue. And what ended up happening, this is her just expressing her feelings because I was trying to be softer. I was trying to be more understanding, more gentle, as opposed to, no, I don't like, that's ridiculous. Don't even mention that. Today, that's the language.
Wow.
Today, it's if she mentions anything like that, it's like, how dare you even say something like that to me? And I'm not being a dick about it, but it's how dare you?
Yeah.
Because you know that's not the case. And if I allow that to build, what ended up happening for me is I built a distaste for work. I built a distaste to everything that made me me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, one day I'm sitting down at dinner. I'm a shell of myself, a shadow of who I believed that I was. I was no longer out there conquering. I was family man Will. My daughter was born. I didn't work for 4 months.
Wow.
And all of a sudden I'm struggling financially because I stopped being who I was that got us to the mountaintop in the first place.
Yeah.
So now the conversation is just completely different. And I'm curious to know what your thoughts are because she thinks that I'm a little bit cold in that regard because now I don't allow, in the Bible it says power of life and death is in the tongue. Now I don't even I have to do this thing where if I hear something that I adamantly disagree with, I straight up say, I'm not even hearing you. I won't allow me to receive what you're even saying to me.
Yeah.
Because if I do, I know what comes after.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, so two, I appreciate the question. The first part is between what it is you desire for yourself and your family, and between what it is your wife desires from her husband for the family. Which one is the healthiest? Somebody's right here, somebody's wrong. Maybe both are wrong. Or maybe both are right in certain percentages. not knowing Will, the dynamic of his family, or being able to have his wife in the room, or her input. A safe place to land is, this is what I see and this is what I feel is best for myself and my family. Why do you feel that way? And if somebody's going to lead me in my life, I should at least have the freedom to ask them, what's the plan and why is the plan that way?
Mm-hmm.
And if I am your, like the Bible says, your helpmeet, do I not get to ask questions? Do I not get to have input? If I am a follower, if you are the head of the household and you are the priest of the home, does that mean I am full submission, or does that mean I submit to my position and I'm a leader in that position? A role player is still a leader in their position. Mm-hmm. So, number one, you mentioned a word that I really like, and we bounced over something. Hopefully, we'll come back around to it. I won't push it, but if we come back around to it, awesome. Is discovery. Now that the question has been raised, well, or the statement has been made, you work too much, or you're doing this, you're doing that. Well, this is who I've always been. This is who I am. This is, the way I'm going to go. Okay, I'm not saying I disagree with that in totality, but is there any time for me? Is there any time for the family? Do you turn that off? Are you worker will, or now are you dad will? Now are you husband will, or daddy will? Like those sorts of things. So I believe it gives you guys an opportunity to come to the table that you're building together. Now let me say that in reverse. The question is, what do you bring to the table, and what does she bring to the table? And anytime I'm doing any type of counseling with marriages or couples or relationship, I'll ask them, hey, what do you bring to the table, and what do you feel you bring to the table, and why? And they'll answer, and it's always a trap. It's always a trap, because anyone who can articulate what it is they're bringing to the table lets me know they're not building a table together. There should be no table. The only table that should exist is the one you built together, and you're building that table for the entirety of your relationship. Even if you got all the legs and all the tabletop and everything there, it's going to wear down sometime. It's time to apply another coat. That leg is a little wobbly now. Let's tighten that leg. But you're constantly building this table. So my question is, this gives you guys an opportunity to discover what type of table you build together. Well, hey, I feel you're working too much. Well, I don't feel I'm working too much. I feel that I'm providing for my family. I feel I'm doing that. Hey, can we bring this to the table we're building? Well, yeah, let's unpack this. Okay, why do you feel that way? Because I thought this was the best version of me, and I thought I was doing that, this and that. And then you discover new cards on table, like, oh, is that what you've been holding in your hand this entire time? Well, here are my cards. This is what. That's what you've been holding in your. Hey, I need that card. Yeah, I need that card. I didn't even know. My suit is so much better with that now. And now you can sit back and understand why they play their hand that way and why you play your hand your way. And they can also understand why you play your hand that way. So my thing to that is, ride that discovery. It's an opportunity. I can fight over this, but apparently there's energy here. There's information, there's data. And I can channel this energy however I want. I can take it to a fight. I can take it to a cold shoulder, or I can use that same firepower to open up a new chapter, to come to the table that we're building together and say, I don't feel I'm being that way. Why do you feel I'm being that way? Is there something you would like to see different? Well, this makes me feel very, well, first of all, you can't stop doing what makes you feel confident. But when you do feel confident that way, it kind of makes me feel that, okay, I can see how that would happen. So that discovery that you mentioned, use that energy and use that discovery to come to the table that you guys are building or should be building together, and see what each other is holding in their hands. And I guarantee you'll come up with a good play.
Right. That's really good.
I like that. It takes a lot of courage a lot of times to do that, right? Because you're facing something that could potentially, based on perhaps previous data, this is how we handle confrontation. This is an opportunity for something to blow out of proportion. Yeah. Right? Like this, it takes a lot of courage to just be like, have you seen the movie The Hurt Locker?
Yes, I have. Yes.
That guy going into the minefield, that's a lot of husbands, right?
Yeah.
And you just have to have that persona be like, now I'm a bomb sniffer.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go in there and try and diffuse these bombs that I know I've stepped on before and they blew my fucking leg off.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. The movie The Hurt Locker. Someone asked me what was the best way that my wife has ever shown me that she's loved me, or the best way that she's loved me. And I was like, man, okay, well, man, she can cook, man, she talented, she can sing, man, love making is amazing. Like this is that, and I was like, but no. I said the best way that my wife has ever loved me was creating the safest atmosphere possible for me to be human, for me to be celebrated when I get it right, and for me to be protected when I get it wrong. And when you mention the movie The Hurt Locker, yeah, he's going out there sniffing the bomb. What wire? How do I move it? Is it dead? Is it benign? Or is it live? Or is it hot? But what did they do before he went out there? They created the safest environment possible. So he didn't have fear because of the atmosphere or the environment or anything else. He only had fear because of what the bomb was.
Yeah.
And a lot of men don't get the opportunity to only be afraid of just the bomb. It's the bomb, the atmosphere, the people who built the atmosphere, everything around,
fallout.
the kid, the fallout, all of that. Because if that bomb goes off, they're not going to be mad about the collapsed buildings. They're not going to be mad about the huge crater in the ground. They're going to be like, man, we lost one. What about we don't care nothing about that damage. We lost one. We did everything in our power. And a lot of atmospheres aren't being created as safe. They're just like, yeah, go deal with the bomb. Go deal with it. Yep, I'm mad, and I'm not going to tell you where the bomb is. I'm not going, no safety suit. Come on. And it's like, do you want me to be today's version of a man? Or do you want me to be a healthy human? Do you want me to talk to you and open up and be transparent and vulnerable? Okay, well, where's the atmosphere for me to do that? If every time I approach this bomb, if something happens or goes off and you don't understand that I'm still dealing with the bomb as a head of the house, as a leader of this household, I need the best atmosphere. Did we sweep? Did we sniff? Did it heat? Wires? Dead? Alive? Like, did we do all of that? So it is the opportunity. If you desire a certain behavior from an individual, and since we're talking about it, wives from husbands, how are you preparing that table? How are you preparing that place? How are you creating that atmosphere? Does he feel safe to be honest? Does he feel protected? And if he were to be honest, what's the blow up look like?
Are you receptive? Is your ego hurt? And
you ask for it, and it's all about necessary bodies of work. All confrontation isn't bad. Some confrontation is necessary. I go to the gym Monday through Friday, and I have to intentionally put pressure on myself. I have to intentionally break down and tear. If I want growth, something's got to break. Something's got to tear. Something's got to rip. And there are situations in life where the happy and successful and joyous moments will bring things out of you. But then there are things that need to come out of you that happy moments can't get out of you.
No.
There has to be pressure. There has to be uncomfortable conversations, intentional conversations, and things like that. A dentist. Brush every day. Floss your teeth. Do this, do that. If not, I may have to do a necessary job one day. Not here to hurt you. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to do a job. And if you don't do what's required, I'm going to have to pull it out. I'm going to have to give it a root canal. I'm going to have to do, it's a necessary body of work. But sometimes that level of necessity is needed to get rid of that pain that's not going to leave unless you do.
Because of what you've chosen to do over time.
That's really good.
You've chosen to do what you've done over time.
That's really good.
Wow. I love that.
I like the verbiage that you used on that too. It's like I don't want to do it to hurt you, but I'm going to have to do a necessary job.
Yeah.
Yep.
Necessity requires different things from all of us.
So what got you into this line of work? Like, give us the backstory of, like, you graduated high school. I'm assuming you graduated high school.
I did.
Okay, so you graduated high school. What is the next, I guess, years of discovery look like for you that leads you to doing what you do today?
It found me. It's a mix of desire, trauma, and survival. When I was 17, my mom was in her second marriage. Well, my father who was I was born, no father. My dad was a hustler. Like, he was a pimp. Like, he was, and I'm not talking like cool
Like,
work
actually.
just to say. Like,
Right.
yeah, like actually, like he was a hustler. He was a pimp. Like, he ran it.
Yeah,
Like,
hoes.
yeah, like
I love it.
things I've seen.
Low key, I love
This-
it. I'm from Miami, dog.
This
What
nigga
do
talk
you
about
want
he
to
love
say?
it. Like, and out of 38 years of living, I'm 38 today. Out of 38 years of living, I've probably seen my biological father 100 times in my life. So not even a full year altogether.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of backstory there, and maybe that's another podcast episode. But my mom remarried. Now, looking back, hindsight, educated, doctor, all that, I'm like, oh, I know what this is. Her being lonely, not healing or dealing with trauma. She just remarried a second version of my verbally, physically, and mentally, and emotionally abusive dad. So when I turned 17 and I graduated, I went to college so that I wasn't homeless, not because I was interested in furthering my education. 17 in my house meant, to her second husband, this new guy, that you were a man. So here I am with a 91 Chevy Caprice, working at the Dollar Movie and working at AJ Wright, got my first little cell phone from, I think it was Revel at the moment, or Cricket or something like that. And just making my way, playing basketball, making my, my 9 to 5 retail money and all that. And then it was, well, hey, you gotta, start paying your way. You gotta start paying rent. This is what it's gonna be. And I'm like, rent. I'm like, what do you mean rent? What's that gonna be? And he's like, well, yeah, this is what I want. And if you don't have it, just leave my key on the front porch. And I'm like, I don't have any money. Like, I'm buying T-shirts and socks and fake chains and all the type of stuff. I'm 17-year-old, like,
Right, you're
kid stuff,
17.
kid stuff. And so growing up with my mom from the ages of 0 to 9, when it was just us, we bounced all around. I thought we were rich growing up, because we were always in a new place. Further on down the line in story, I figured out we were actually homeless. So we're bouncing from family to family, friend to friend, basement to basement, couch to couch, and those sorts of things. So speeding back up to the age of 17, I say, what is he talking about? Like, what is it? And I'm like, me and her have been homeless together. I know this not about to fly. Like, we good. Like, you hear what this dude's saying? Like, and when I approached her, her silence gave me the answer. And I said, hey, he said, I gotta leave. And we're in Cleveland, Ohio. And I said, we gotta leave. I still remember it, 26510 Chardon Road, Richmond Heights, Ohio. Richmond Heights High School right around the corner. I would take the bus where I would play basketball and, all sorts of stuff. 26510 Chardon Road. Winter was approaching. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, what are we doing? And she just stopped and she was silent. I was like, oh. I'm like, so what happens now? I was like, well, how about this? I said, how about I just stay busy all day. I'll stay busy all day. I'll play basketball. I'll work, chase girls around. Like, dude, like, I'll be a 17-year-old. Mm-hmm. And what if I can just lay my head here? Like, I'll just sleep here. And before you guys get up for work, I'll be gone and I'll just stay gone all day. I said, it's cold. It's cold outside. It's winter. It's raining. Like, it's snowing. I said, can I just lay my head here? And she said, well, you better take a blanket. And that's where I knew that life is not required to be kind to you. It's not required to be nice to you. life is just going to be life. Sometimes it'll be a sunny day and sometimes it'll be a cold day. Sometimes you'll do something bad and get punished for it. Sometimes you do something bad and never get caught. Sometimes you do something good and it'll never get noticed. Sometimes you do something good and you'll be rewarded. Like, life is just going to be life. And that is where my journey began. That is, I know for a fact that the way that I'm wired wouldn't have been built any other way. And life became very real to me at that moment. Sleeping on couches, sleeping in parks, sleeping in the backseat of cars. You know, maybe it's a good idea that I go get a job at a place that serves food, so now I can eat. So I'm figuring it out. I'm making it happen. I said, man, this is rough. Talking to one of my cousins, and I'm like, oh, well, we're going off to college. You know, we're going to a dorm. I'm like, dorm, that's a good idea. I have a roof over my head. We're going to school. Where do you go to school? Anything. Anything. Went to school for international business management. Dropped out faster than I enrolled. It just wasn't working. Came back home and the cycle just continued. It just continued. And, you know, I would stay with a friend here, or got to sleep in this car there, or do the stories that I could tell from the ages of 17 to 21, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, the stories that I could tell you that happened to me in 4 years, sleeping in boiler rooms, turning on the car in the middle of the night to keep some of the heat going. It cuts you. Like, it grooms you in a way. And people are like, well, how did you get to where you are? How are you not afraid? Or how? I'm just cut differently. I'm just cut differently. And that's only a letter and a word and a sentence and a paragraph and a chapter of an entire book. So I went to school for international business management, came back. I said, I just need a job. Became part of a very large ministry at that time. And I saw the way that people were moving. I grew up in not just church, but I grew up in Black church. And Black church is different than regular church. You know, you're going to hell for everything. Can't do nothing right. God is always mad at you. Don't wear no earrings. Don't get no tattoos. Don't think a bad thought. Don't do this. You're going to hell. And even on your best day, if you get it right, you're still going to hell. Like God just don't like you. Like, get that through your head. So just hope. Play the lottery that maybe you won't burn in hell. And you so went through that. And then, you know, I came back to this. I came back, and there was a new ministry, multicultural, non-denominational. I'm seeing white people in church, Black people in church. It's fine. I'm like, what's this? I'm like, so we all up in here. Okay, what's it? And then I started hearing this thing about grace and mercy. What you mean God ain't mad at me? What you mean he loves me? This is it. I said, this is it. I said, this is what I wanted to do. I said, this is the way I want to help people heal and break through and this and that. And I approached leadership at the time, and they were like, we're glad you feel that way because we feel the same way. I'm like, well, where do I start? And they were like, school. That again? So I did. I went to seminary, went to Bible college, became licensed and ordained, did all that. And as soon, I got a little, like they say, never meet your superheroes. Like, never get too close to your heroes. I forget the exact term, the exact quote.
Be disappointed.
And I did that. And I got close to my superheroes. And what I had to learn and what I had to know is that these people weren't God. So don't blame God for what people have done. And don't blame God for a church being a church and people being people.
Yeah.
And I healed from that. And I still had questions. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I haven't seen anything that, then getting into psychology, you start to notice what confirmation bias is. You start to learn about neural pathways, dominant neural pathways, gaslighting, manipulation, this, and it's like, how do I fight this? Like, what do I do about this?
Because it's so glaring at that point.
Because it's there.
Yeah.
And now you're not traumatized anymore, though. You're happy. You're married. You got money. You're not triggered. You're not trauma responding. You're like, whoa, I have questions. What do I do? So instead of instead of starting the church, I decided to start a faith-based practice. From there, the transition was, hey, I'm not starting this church. One of my advisors at the time was like, well, have you ever thought about therapy? I was like, man, is it that bad? Like, you think I need therapy? He's like, no. Have you ever thought about going into therapy? No, I haven't. And Elijah, we think you would be really great. Like, you have a doctoral program. You put in this much time, got this many credits, all this time, hours, years, blah, blah, blah. It's right there. And we think you would be good. I said, maybe that's it. So I did it and started my own faith-based practice. And where a lot of questions started to, I'm not for sure if that was your question though, but I don't know how you want to do this transition. If there's a car manufacturer and this car manufacturer says that we have the safest, most reliable car, and then the Department of Transportation and all surrounding medical organizations and institutions, hospitals, clinics, and things like that, begin to get reports of crashes and accidents and deaths. And it's coming mainly from that manufacturer. You're like, we got to go see what this manufacturer is doing. Why are all of these people who do not know each other saying the same thing? And as a counselor, the religious abuse and manipulation and trauma that came across my desk began to become hard to ignore. You don't know this last person that I was on the call with. You having these problems? And it's like a car crash here, a fender bender there, a headlight out there. And imagine the gaslighting if the car manufacturers say, oh, well, they just have to drive better. And in a lot of these cases and situations, you know, you didn't believe enough. You didn't pray hard enough. You didn't have enough faith. You read that scripture wrong. You were leaning on your own understanding. Wait on the Lord any day now. And it's like, well, I would love for any day to come. Mm-hmm. Bringing up things for me that I actually experienced in the church. Did I not believe enough? Did I not pray right enough? Did I not fast enough? Maybe I'm just a bad driver at this. I got pastors molesting me. I got cousins molesting me. I got aunts and uncles physically abusing me. I'm never doing anything right. I'm getting kicked out of the house. How much longer do I do this? Maybe I just need to be a better believer. Then that S kind of falls off your chest a little bit, kind of gets crooked. And it's like, well, we're going to have to come back to that one. We're going to have to figure something out about that. So starting that practice, you're always building that table. You're always applying new finishes. You're always fixing that wobbly leg. The version of me I am today, I think, is one of the proudest and most healthiest versions of me that I've ever been okay with. I don't need anybody to sign off on this version of me. I don't need anybody to approve this version of me. I don't need anybody to love this version of me because I like me. I'm okay with me. I like waking up with me. I like going to bed with me. I like going throughout the day with me. And there are some things that I'm very confident in that I know now today. And there are some things I have no idea about. And I'm okay with being where I am right now. So it's funny how life will find you. And you will fall into certain chapters and things of your life to where I thought I had it all right. I knew this was my lane, but it wasn't. Do I wish I could have had a different experience when getting to where I am today? Hell yeah, absolutely. But I didn't. But look at where I ended up. Okay, I didn't see this. Still wish it could have been different. But look at how I'm cut. Mm-hmm. It's give and take, remove and replace. And through my education, I have seen my story help people more than my education. But I'm thankful for the education because I could steward my story and not counsel out of trauma, but counsel out of being healed and educated. So kind of those worlds collided, and we've been doing okay.
I love that. So this show, obviously, it's called the It Show for independent thinkers. And I feel like you kind of answered the question that I'm about to ask, but I'm going to ask you anyways. What is something that you believed 5 years ago, 10 years ago, doesn't matter, that you knew is an absolute truth that you no longer believe today?
The God that I was introduced to. There is no shadow of a doubt that you could 5 years ago tell me that God is the author and creator of all things. So without a shadow of a doubt, there is nothing you could say to move or sway me that Jesus Christ is not the Son of God, and that there is no way unto the Father except through the Son, that he did not die on the cross for my sin and rose again in 3 days, conquered hell, sitting at the right hand of God, and one day he's coming back to rapture me up again. You couldn't convince me anything different. Today, there's a lot of information out there. Agnostic, not believing, deconstruction, that's a huge thing right now. They say where there's smoke, there's fire. And there's a lot of creation stories. There's a lot of God stories. What I no longer believe is the way God was introduced to me. And he is who he is, the way you introduce him to me. The church, the songs, the tithing, the propaganda, the politics, the this and that. Where I am today, I do not believe what was introduced to me. Where I am today is that something happened somewhere. God. And I'm excited to finally figure that out for myself.
Thank you for your testimony.
You're welcome.
Powerful stuff. We're gonna have to have you back to dig into that.
Yeah, there's plenty.
Oh my
There's
goodness.
plenty. I want to be necessary in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Not hold back too much. Not go in too deep. Place it properly and let it bud how it needs to.
And I appreciate that, because that is, a lot of people would deem that a very controversial take.
Yeah.
But the only truth you can speak is your truth. And we talk about, when we open this podcast, you started talking about truth is, it just is. Right?
Yeah.
It's not wrong or right or whatever. It's just truth is what truth is. But you're the one who dictates truth for you in your life. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. You are not afraid to hold back. So
No,
well,
Not at all.
let me say it differently. You know what I mean.
I do. I do. I'm thankful.
Well, thank you for your time. If you guys liked what you saw, if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing, man? We have these coming to you every week. Hit the bell notification too so you don't miss the next one. That being said, thank you again for your time, Dr. Light.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys next time.